databases, even for data analysis. SQL is still fundamental. It's something I have to encourage everyone to look into. It is going to be a lot of value for you if you can take your time. I will not be able to dive deep into SQL because I believe it's something you can really go in. I'm going to give you a place where you can really practice extremely. I'll recommend you dedicate like maybe 60 or 40 hours of pure practice and go through this SQL. Maybe just spend like 2, 3 weeks and refine yourself. If you know it before, you just need to go back and sharpen your skill set because this is a very big skill that you can have free of charge, and you will be better off many over there out there in the industry that use a lot of Excel. With your SQL skill, you can present to interviewer like, okay, I have this skill set, and it's going to be added uh, to my portfolio or to your own operation, and it makes your work faster because SQL is a language that is used to talk to any database now in the world. So places where databases are places where tables of data are stored. I believe everyone are familiar with database at this stage. So if you want to interact with your database, SQL is a go-to language. So you can use it to write short queries to get the data that you want. So many companies store data in database. So knowing a bit of SQL is very, very useful. I cannot overemphasize that. So tables in SQL. In SQL, data lives in tables. We know about data frame already, which is row and column. So each table usually have a name in SQL. And the main SQL keywords are select. Select is used to select which columns you want to see. And the from is used to specify the table you want to read from. Like I said, we have multiple tables on SQL database. Uh, where is typically used to filter rows by condition. You remember we filter the other time using Lagos. Yeah, you just say where city is called Lagos. Make sure the string is shown. Remember in our data type that we talked about string. Yeah, make sure you put your string to show that it's a string and it's not a variable. Group by is used to put rows into groups and summarize. That we just did, so I believe you understand that. So order by is the way to sort. You remember this dot sort value that we did the other time. So in SQL you use order by. Then limiting only returns the first n rows. So limiting is just limiting as it is called. You want to limit the number of rows that the memory is holding. So in that case, it helps to optimize your memory, and it optimizes the operation. So it shows you instead of thinking about the whole rows, if you have like a million rows in your database, you don't want to push that one once into your memory. So it's very optimal by using limits. It helps you to operate very faster. So a query like give me city and average price from the sales table grouped by city, sorted by price, high to low becomes something like this. This is give me city. So this is average. This is how you calculate average. You do that on the select keyword. So this is another keyword from. You want to know after you do select, you show from where. Where do you want to do that? So you say from sales. So here also we have group by, which is city, order by, average price. So order group by is like on which column do you want to group? So now we are selecting city, right? Uh, well, let me think. Group by is actually asking you which column, yeah, do you want to group by? And the operation that you want to do on it is average. You want to perform an average, right? When you group by the city, You want to perform the average on price per kg for that city that you are grouping by. Now, order by is just telling you the sorting method that we want to use. So we want to order by the average price and you want to make sure it's descending order. I think by default it defaults to ascending order, but if you want to do like descending, you have to specify it. So this is basically, I'm throwing this out to you so that you might understand what we have been doing in pandas can actually be done in SQL as well. So, but I encourage you to have understanding of pandas and also have a very strong understanding of SQL. This will take you very far, very, very far. So let me take you to the SQL. Um, yeah, this is the link that we're gonna use for SQL. Um, the link is at ThoughtSpot.com. It was mode.com earlier on, but now it is TopSpot. So we here at this right side is a place that you can specify which one do you want to work on. Is it basic? So I encourage you to start from the basic introduction to SQL for data analysis. This is by am I? Oh, I thought I'm not recording. Yeah, so this is by far uh one of the best materials I've seen online, which is free of charge. It's not going to charge you for this basic learning that you are doing. So I encourage you to make the best use of this. Um, like let's say information is power, right? So I'm giving you this link, ThoughtSpot. I'm going to share it in the on our notebook as well. Um, uh, Let us just do it right away. Let's use this link to work with SQL skills. So, as soon as you click on the link, it's going to take you to ThoughtSpot here. So you don't have a problem. So, tells you how the SQL tutorial they analyzing, what is SQL, how do I pronounce SQL, what's a database. So I'll encourage you to go through this, read it as if you want to write exam. I'm giving you this free of charge, but this is very important, you know. If you have used Excel, you should already be familiar with tables. They are similar to spreadsheet. So that's just something I told you earlier on. So you go to whenever you are done with a particular lesson, so you can go to the next lesson. You remember that we talked on null value, so you can also use its null in SQL. So this will really help you with SQL because you've seen it almost everything when we are running our pandas. So now you'll be able to compare and contrast, like, okay, this is what we did in pandas. Now, this is how it's done in SQL. So but it takes time for you to get used to it. So now I don't know why they started with something difficult. I would not want to do that. I would rather like to start from okay, let's just go through it together. So this is select. This guy means all. Select all. Just like in pandas, you just call your table, data frame, and say, okay, push it. But if you want to select if you want to select some rows or some columns rather, you have to specify in double bracket, right? These are the rows I need. But here we are just saying select all. But if you want to specify some uh let me see. Now it's saying select all, right? From from top billboard where song is. So before we even start all this featuring this thing, so let's say select all from. So from table, this is table. Everything here is table. Don't let it intimidate you. This is just as simple as table, you know, like your data frame. So we are selecting all from data frame. Let's see what it's gonna give us. So we have year rank, group name, artist, song name, ID. Now, remember I told you sometimes we just need some set of columns that we are very interested in, and we don't want to select all. Why can't we just say we only need year, year, year rank, and group name. You see the naming convention is very similar. So they are using a lot of underscore, right? Yeah. You don't leave a space. You're giving the name. You have to use an underscore. You keep them together. So you see now that I selected just those ones. You see that we have this. So we may also want to add artist, right? I think there's artist. Artist. If I know how to spell artist, that would be a good one. Oh, I actually know how to spell artist. So now we have an artist here. So that is important in SQL. So this is just a table name. Remember that. So this is a way of filtering. When you say where song is null, I don't want to include this for now. It's null. So you say, so anywhere you see this, so there's no place song is null. So everything has a song name, yeah? Yeah. So we can also say or is a conditional state, is a logic. You say either is null or trim song name equals. So trim is another function or method. I mean function uh that is trimming the white space. Let's see what you have here. So trim song name is let me just go. Yeah, pardon me. I think I did a little research now. Just to be sure I'm saying the right thing to my audience. So why do they have to use null and trim? I feel this is too early in the tutorial thing. I don't know why it's coming so early because this is more of data cleaning in SQL. But let me just give you a short description or reason why null or trim song is used together. Trim song equals to, this is actually empty space. Like, take for example, this shows like there is space, right? But if you bring it together, it shows like there's no space after you trim it. After you trim the two extreme of the characters. So in SQL, a null is fundamentally different from empty string. So null is different from empty string. So if you only search for is null, yeah, you might miss rows where a user pressed spacebar or where a system exported a blank value as an empty string. So empty string is different from null in SQL. So the trim approach ensures the results are more accurate when looking for missing information. So that's just what we have here. But that is so much aside. It's too early to start diving deep into those jargon. My apologies for that, because I believe this should be after the introduction. So let's go to the SQL operation. Operator rather, SQL and operator. So in the operator, we have the and different operators, and is one of the most used logical operators in SQL. And how does that work? You remember this is going to select everything, right? From this table. So where your year is 2012 and year rank is less than or equals to 10. So we are looking for all the information in the table where the year column is equal to 2012 alone and year rank is less than or equal to 10. Interesting. You can use sequence and operator with additional and statement or any other comparison operator as many times as you want. You see, they're just they're giving us the different scenarios that we can use hand operator. You can use it to add many conditions. It's like you see, and group name. Highlight is just showing you like it doesn't care if it's uppercase or lowercase. So you usually start with this and this when you are using that as to compare your existing characters. But these are something you are going to see later on in the if you continue this tutorial or sequel. So you can come over and make any adjustment changes here. Just try and get familiarized with SQL and its operation. This will help us a lot going forward. So they also talked about OR operator. OR is different from hand, as you may all know. In our normal language, we say OR if either one of the two. So please go through this as well. Practice the problem for us. Then if you have any issue, let's know in the chat. Go to the next NOT operator. Check what it does. Come back if you have a problem. Then the next one is sort query. How to sort query. I think that should be using order by. We already discussed that. So you use order by which column we are talking about? Artist column. So order by year rank, So you practice the problem. You can also order by multiple column, this year and year rank. So it starts by doing this. So anytime it sees multiple data that is looking alike, maybe you have 2012 multiple times. So it makes sure it uses year rank to order those duplicated, not really duplicated, but duplicated in a particular row, right? In a particular column. So it uses year rank to consolidate or to resolve that multiple duplications. So this is the first priority, then this is the next priority. So please go through this. Like I said, this is going to be very, very useful for you. If you finish this ThoughtSpot.com SQL tutorial and you go for a data analyst interview and you don't have if you don't have anything that was useful for you that you learned from this after your data analyst, I'm not talking about Excel data analyst, I'm talking about real data analyst interview, then you can come back and say, I'm giving you error. But I'm very sure this is something I've had experience with. Top companies, both in Nigeria and abroad here, they require SQL skills. Even if you are very good with your pandas, SQL is still number one because this is where you first use to extract your data from the database. And if you don't know how to extract your data, that means you will not be able to work with your data. Now, you see, that is the basic syntax is select and from. Now we are coming back to the basics now. So there are two required ingredients in any SQL query, select and from, and they have to be in that order. Select indicates which columns you like to view, and from identifies the table that they live in. So here they are using this table, US housing unit. So you can go through it. Yeah, go through it. Yeah, column names. So you can also use alias. Remember alias in pandas? So here also you say select West as West region. So as soon as you do this, it's actually gonna, let's say you do this. Instead of showing West, it's going to show West region as a column name because you have changed the, but if you just leave it as select West, it's gonna show West. So that's just a quick one that I want to show you. So limit, we already talked about limit. Limit your the number of rows it's gonna show. So yeah, now the limit. It's gonna limit it to the first 15. See, 1, 2, 3 plus 12, that's 15. Well, this is very self-explanatory. So SQL where clause, we already talked about that. This is used to extract, to filter some specific rows that we need. So here we only want where month is one. So it's talking about January. So I suppose month is, yeah, month is one, you see. Yeah, we only have month is one. So we can also limit it by saying limit 5. That's going to give you the top 5, right? Yeah. So now let's go to SQL comparison operator. This is also very important. So we have many comparison operators on numerical data. So we can have equal to. This is what you for equal to is all you use. Not equal to, you can either use this or use this. Um, Please make sure you practice this thing. I can't emphasize how important this is going to be. You can use greater than, less than, greater than or equal to. So this is very important, please. Whenever you are filtering, you're going to use a lot of comparison operator um, to filter your, you see here we use month name. It's not equals to January. That means it's gonna anything that is not January will not show. So look at it. The string also is very important. January is a string. If you do not put this little apostrophe, what do you call it? Quotation rather. It's gonna see it as let's see, but it's a variable name, and it's gonna be looking for a value for that variable, and it will not see anything. That's going to be catastrophic. Return to error. So here is going to say the month name is greater than January, so you can use greater than, less than, and the rest of them on non-numeric columns. Non-numeric columns mean columns that are not numbers. You see, this is January, and it's saying greater than. So, but in that case, it's going to use the alphabetical order. You see, JA. So anything after J is what it's going to show you. Maybe we should try it. IJK. So anything from KLMN, that's what we're gonna see. Let's see, I may be wrong, but let's try it out. Okay, it's already here, so let's run the query. So what we'll be seeing is hem, is it IJK OPQRS? Okay, so just remember that. We also have SQL group by. Group that we heard earlier on. So the interesting thing is like whenever you use group by in SQL, you tend to use an aggregate function. It's very important you read through this very clearly because whenever you use group by, it's expecting an aggregate function such as can, average, summary, summation, which is sum, total. Please, whenever you need to be familiar with this syntax, this is very important as well. Um, so like I said, when you are using group by, you need to On the select um, line, you need to put like an aggregate function. This is going to show that the operation you want to carry out on that column that you are grouping by is a count operation. That means you want to count. And group by 1, comma 2 means first order. The first um, grouping by is going to be on the year column. The second group by is going to be on month column. I mean, this is very early to introduce this to you, but I mean, subsequently, you're going to see a lot of things like this. So you can do it either ways. You can try to put the year here to number 1 and month here to number 2. But I'll suggest you follow the instruction that is being that's being put out here on ThoughtSpot.com. It's pretty step by step. Don't take it don't think it's too hard. Just take it easy. Um, yeah, so that is going to help you in the long term. So make sure you practice the problems. And if you do not get some um, expected answers, or you are getting a lot of errors, if you get to a point that you feel stuck, please use the WhatsApp chat. I'll be willing to respond to you on that and getting you through. So, now that we talked about group by, I think we can. I need to also show you something. So this is a logical operations. Logical operations is a special operator like, in, between, is not, and, or not. So all these things, please go through it. Like I said, I would not be able to. SQL on its own is like another tutorial entirely, is another course entirely. So why I just want us to be familiar with some of the syntax because I'm going to need us to work on that. Let's go to join. I also want to introduce us to join, SQL join. So let's see. So SQL join is more of when you are working on a relational database, like you have uh, a sales table and you have the customer biography table. So on the sales table, you will have the customer ID, and the customer biography table, you have a customer ID there. So using the customer ID for the two tables, you can use it to merge. So in Pandas, we call it merge operation, but in SQL, we call it join. So I really want to talk about this when we go back to our Pandas in a very short time. And so the anatomy of join is um let's see. It's basically using the keyword join. Then when you use the keyword join after specifying the data table that you are reading from, you want to join another table, then you now put on. So on, like I said, you have a sales table and you have a customer table. So you have a customer ID on both sales and uh, uh, both sales and customer table. So using those two ID, you can use it to merge to get a bigger table. And this is Horn. Horn is showing like you want to join on customer ID and sales ID. Um, we get to look at that in our panels, but I will encourage us to also go through this this join operation on ThoughtSpot. Then that one will give you a lot of understanding when we go back to our panels. And I swear this is very important in the industry if you want to apply this in the industry. Uh, By the way, if you don't understand the explanation, please, you can reach out to me. Uh, so let's start by, let me just give you a short scenario. I think this is a little bit simpler. Let's start by doing this. The first one is, let me comment this out so that we can. Now let's check this table. Ben.college. By the way, it's not Benjamin, it's Ben. So do not mix that up. This is not my college, it's not my college football team. So, oh, there's another thing I'm missing. This is a simple way of aliasing. So aliasing is like you want to all these names, you feel like you don't want to continue to type it every now and then. So you just want to get something simpler to represent it. So this is alias. So anytime you specify a table and you put a string or a character in front of it, it will look at that as an alias. So please remember that. So let me comment this out for now. I don't need it for now. So let's see the content of Ben College football players. And oh, I'm going against my own instruction. Please remember to use limit anytime you're just checking, because I just want to check what it's we see it's faster now. So we have full school name, player name, position, height, weight, year, hometown, state, and ID. Okay, so now let's see what we have here. The other one. Let me comment this out. Uh, let me put this guy there. So I want to say from. Let's see what we have here on this college football team. So we have division conference school name. I think school name, you remember school name was also present in the college football players. So it looks like school name would be, and we also have ID, but I'm not sure this ID is linked to these school names. So I think we might need to join on school name. Yeah, if you see here, we join on school name, right? On teams dot school name is got the players dot school name. So we have school name. Okay, yeah. So school name is a column that's gonna be used to merge the college football teams and the college football players. In this case, let's just clean it up. So the first place we want to read is from Ben College football players. We alias it as players. So we want to join Ben College football teams as teams. This is also an alias. So whenever you are joining, you need to specify on what. We want to join it on teams. So instead of saying Ben College football teams here, we just said team, right? So dot is saying, okay, on this table, we are specifying this column name. So table is a bigger hierarchy. Column name is a subset of the table. Is an attribute of the table. Like remember in the data frame, you have data frame dot columns, right? So this is just what we are saying. Data frame dot column name. So wherever we see team's school name equals to player's school name, check this table, check the school name on that table. If any and merge it with anywhere you see players on player school name on this table. Let me explain it again. We are joining these two tables, table A, table players, and table teams, on this column, school name, teams.school name, the school name, the team, the column school name on the team table. Anywhere you see that row on players table, join it together, merge it together. So let's run it. We have the two tables together here, as you can see. So if school name here must be equal to school name here. You see? Yeah. So it's typically joining the two tables based on the team name, on the school name rather. School name, yeah. Well, this is pretty much early, and it will take time for us to understand this, but I suppose we need to do more practices to help us. So in previous lesson, you learned the basics of SQL joins using data about college football players. All of the players in the players table match to one school in the teams table. But what if the data isn't so plain? What if there are multiple schools in the teams table? So what happens? So sometimes we just want to merge based on specifics, like specifically one-to-one. We don't want to match where there is an imagine if the school name is empty and you're merging to a team name which is also empty. So inner join at that point, inner join is very important to apply. So inner join eliminates rows from both tables that do not satisfy the join condition set forth on the on statement. So joining tables with identical, well, at this point, I think I'm running out of time and I have to just conclude this. Please take a look at ThoughtSpot. Then we'll take a look at the joins, take a look at the basic intro, and then if you have any problem, please let me know. But in the meantime, we're gonna come back to um, our SQL here. This is the point. We want to establish the ideas and syntax for SQL. So in many cases, you can use, we can put our data frame into a database, something that is SQL-like database on pandas, and we can run all these select where group by queries, the same ideas we use in pandas. So this is what we want to try and do here. So before we started, this is a way of doing a connection in SQL. You don't have to remember this, you just have to copy and paste. This is a standard code that you're going to use. So for this one, I'm initiating another table called product info. If you remember, we talked about the way we can use pandas data frame to create a simple data frame, a simple table. So I'm using it where you have to wrap you have to place your dictionary inside the data frame method. So here I'm having a product which is a table name, column name, and a category, which is also another column name. So in the column name, and we have the row, the cell value in that column name. Here we also have the cell value in that column name. Here we have rice to be grain, beans to be grain, yam to be tuber, tomatoes to be vegetable, maize, and so on and so forth. You may want to look at it. I can show you quickly here. This is what we are trying to do here. Product info. Yeah, so this is typically what we are doing here. We are trying to use this uh this method to create a simple table. From there, we would use it to merge it uh on our existing market sales table. Now we can, let me just try and split this into two tables. So now that we initiate the connection for SQLite, remember we already loaded it in. I hope it works. And now after you create the table, we need to write our table to SQLite in memory. So this is how we do it. Let's see if we still have data clean active. Okay, we still have our data clean. So here we are saying we are trying to convert the data clean table data frame to SQL, and we say we want to call it sales. If it exists, you should replace it. Index is false. For now, I'm not expecting us to understand all this, but we just want to follow up so that we understand what we're doing. So the main important thing we want to do is we want to run a query. On our existing SQL table. Now we want to select city, average price per kg. This is an alias as AVG price. From which table sales? We already mentioned named our data clean as sales and product info as products. So we group by city and order by average price. So before you do this, please make sure you go through the ThoughtSpot link I gave to you. Make sure you are familiar with those SQL syntaxes. That will help a lot. So let's run the query. Now, after we run the query, so pd.readQuery is a way of using pandas to read the SQL syntax. So we want to also try SQL join example to show how to merge table. So on pandas we call it merge, or in SQL we call it join. So here, remember, we have our product table and we have our sales table. And if you remember our sales, the product table is here, right? And the sales table is this one, the data claim table. Remember, we always look for a column that we can use to join the two tables. Now, if you look at the two tables, the only column that we can use here is a product column. So here, for this one, we say we should join the product column on the sales table. This table, we use product, right? On product info dot product. So product info dot product means this column. So anytime you see beans here on the sales table, it's going to look for beans here, and it sees beans as grain. It's going to attach this extreme and it's going to attach beans it's going to attach grain rather on category. It's going to show us category. So anytime you see rice here, the rice we look at here, and it's going to pick up rice here and place it at the extreme end here. It's going to pick up the category for rice rather, which is grain. It's going to put it here. So that is what we're about to do now. So that's typically what this query is going to do. So select date, product, quantity, price, category, everything. So if you notice here, the P is an alias that existed from products, right? So you see when I said from sales, sales is else, which is the clean data. So we say inner join. Inner join is a specific join that is very restricted. Its constraint is like is going to only join where there's no null value. It's going to join where the left table has a value on the right table. So both has to be present. Unlike right join, or we've not talked about left join, right join, so that's why you need to read about it on the third spot. Here we're gonna join the product table with using inner join. We can also use just join, and it's gonna work out. So remember the P is saying, okay, the P dot category is gonna be picked up from the product table and gonna be merged to be viewed on the select. It's part of the select statement. So now we're going to use pd.read SQL and make mention of our merge here on the connection that we established earlier on. So you can see here is a pd.read SQL statement and the connection. Now let's just try and print it out and see. So the product beans is having grain, rice is having grain, rice is having grain, wheat is having grain. Yeah, so you can try this on your own. This practice challenge is similar to what we have there, but the only difference is you're gonna use where price per kg is 300, and there you go. So combining two tables with merge. So what we just did with SQL, we can just do it easily using what we call data clean. This is the table that we have as a primary table, and we want to merge it. This is a method. I'm going to use merge. The right is data frame. So which table do you want to merge on? So it's the right table. The left table is the data clean table. The right table is the next data frame we want to merge on, which is the product info. And how do we want to merge? Is it left or right? So this left means we want to make sure that every ID, like we are going to merge on products, right? So every row on the data clean table that has a product would be shown on the new table, irrespective of if the new table has a value or not. So this is going to take time. Just walk around it, change a few variable, change left to right, see the difference, read more about it, and let me know subsequently. So this is what we have here. It's giving us the same output as this. Grain. Okay. Except that we did not limit it to 5. So 5 outputs. So this is a practice challenge that you're gonna do on your own. Make sure you do it before you check the answer, and let me know how things pans out. So the last thing we're going to talk about is exporting data. So after we are done with our data clean, this is the final data that we have. Then you need to export it to CSV. The first thing is just establish the name that you want to export it to. If you don't want to, this is the best way to do it, but you can actually put the name here, just to replace the variable. But this is much more cleaner, and make sure you follow this standard. So this is the data to CSV is the particular method we're gonna call to output it. Then this is just printing. As soon as we run this, it's gonna export it, and it's supposed to be here. You see, marker says clean. It has exported to here. So from here, you can download it to your local file. Then here we go. So what have we done? We've talked about data wrangling. We talked about inspection, cleaning, and transforming data. And we did some practice question. I know this is going to be very new for now, but by the time you keep practicing and you get used to it, the next time you see it, you'll be very familiar. You remember we talked about loading the data using read._CSV, which is a method. We also did some inspecting. We checked the attribute shape, attribute data type, the method describe to check the summary statistics. We also checked for null values and how to calculate the number of null values in our data set. We also did some cleaning. We use a drop, not a number, to drop rows that are typically having null values and that might not be useful for us. We also use drop duplicates for rows that are duplicated. Duplicated means rows that are repeated absolutely in the data in a data set. So that kind of row cannot be used for analysis because duplicate is a big issue. So we also talked about date to time. When you parse your data set, that column date as a date value. Then after parsing it as a date value, make sure you specify is a date time column before you can start splitting it to month and years and those things. So you also transformed using filter, sort, and we show the sequence equivalent to be select and ordered. We also summarize by using group by, and we merge and we export it. So all of this is going to be useful going forward. And right now you have a couple of challenges that you can decide to check on your own. That's going to help you really pretty much after you've done your reading. And please share your thoughts on the group. And if you have any blocker, let me know in the group chat. Thank you so much for your time. And this will be the end of the module 2. Have a nice time coding and see you next time.